What's up, boys? I got a scam to uncover, ladies and gentlemen. Now, uncover is a pretty loose term. I think if you had a heartbeat or a functioning brain cell, you could take 5 minutes and look at what I'm about to show you as patently nonsense. So to give an idea, about a couple weeks ago, I made a video about the GTA 6 moon theory, where, yes, Grand Theft Auto gamers, unironically, looked at the moon phases in marketing material for GTA and started to decipher a trailer release date. Now, obviously, you know, this is clearly meant to be fun in the community. As GTA lovers, as a fan of Grand Theft Auto and as somebody in that community, we don't get much, okay, in terms of reveals. We get one trailer a year ago and a whole year full of crickets, okay? So in the span of that year, there's been plenty of projects that I guess have popped up that have been trying to take advantage of the hype built around Grand Theft Auto. So one of those games is this one title known as Paradise, ParadiseVS.com, okay? So Paradise is a game that's a real-world simulation based on artificial intelligence. It's a life simulation game with limitless possibilities, endless graphics, and that juicy artificial intelligence, endless world, endless play. So right off the bat, you can look at the screenshots and think, whoa, this looks really good, Muda. I mean, this might actually compete with Grand Theft Auto 6. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me start off by showing you some of the red flags. Now, one of the first red flags in this relationship is this umbrella on the beach. Now, you might be like, Muda, what does Soul Sisters got to do with anything, right? Now, if you're an eagle-eyed watcher of the Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer, then you might recognize this parasol from the actual marketing material for Grand Theft Auto 6. For instance, right here on this shot on the beach, if you look very carefully, you can see Soul Sisters. And if you look really close, you can see the words like Vice Beach written on it, which obviously is still present right over here. So immediately we're looking at a little bit of a copyright infringement right off the bat. Okay, right there, ready to go. But ladies and gentlemen, this isn't the only red flag in this situation. The closer you look into it, the more blatant, abuses of copyright actually end up occurring. For instance, if you look at their first trailer over here, nothing really sounds all that crazy until you start to look really close at what they have in this. So they started off with Epic Games and Ultra Games Limited. Remember that company, by the way. And they showcased this, what appears to be gameplay or some level of pre-generated stuff that showcases this massive city where your dreams become a reality. Look at how good that Lamborghini looks. But one of the things that come around over here is obviously their use of actual influencers. So people like Lachlan, people like Loserfruit, Pokimane, Ali A. These are some pretty big names. And so I started looking up and I found no mention of this game by any of these influencers. You would think that if there were some contracts maybe signed and you were using their faces in promotional materials, there might be some cross-mention, right? Maybe that's how this stuff gets spread around and viewed by almost 1 million people. So the more I look into it, one thing that really blows me away is this shot. Now, of course, while the dudes in the corner are doing the old Fenty lean, to give you an idea, ladies and gentlemen, what about this shot blows you away? Now, this is where I realize that I have to stop playing Grand Theft Auto Online, because in the bottom left, you can start to see an actual radar. Now, you might be like, wait, Muda, why is the radar all that important? Well, for one, why are the cars parked on the sidewalk? Whatever. If you look very carefully on this, you can see that, yes, it might resemble a street like this. There's a street going in this direction. But if you look very carefully, that is an actual overpass. There's supposed to be a road that doesn't appear to actually make sense there. Now, that's not the level of craziness that I'm talking about. There is an actual street in Grand Theft Auto 5 you can go to right here, where the map is the exact same, dude. Like the same inner roads, the same outer roads, the same everything, dude. It's actually insane. So yeah, all these red flags should make you a little worrisome about this actual game right here. And it's really funny how the other two trailers where they actually showcase this kind of content, the beach, yeah, these are all in the same actual locale. And I also find it really interesting how after they released that first trailer, they didn't really introduce that mini-map in these other trailers, just because I'm sure that eagle-eyed people who are calling them out were probably going to be very critical. But one thing that I'm going to show you right here is actually mind-boggling. So this came out 3 weeks ago, this AI NPC gameplay. So I want to walk you through this because I think it's laughably hilarious. Let's watch this. So it starts off with some copyrighted music, which I blocked off. So he gets into this like vehicle, and the mission inside here is they got to do this one thing where they have to rescue Christy, who's a daughter of the influential mafia member Carlo Vespucci. Oh boy, I'm sure that shit wasn't generated through Chat GPT. But so they get into the car, and immediately they got a little bit of a speedometer. They're backing up the car at 110 miles an hour for some reason. But yeah, the world looks generally normal, right? They've got parody brands like Parmart, which I don't know how that's supposed to be a Walmart. If you look very carefully, they got a Pringles parody called Bring It. And I also like how that's really stretching the line of parody and whatnot. But the moment you go inside this actual store, some of the assets all have basically been like brought back to actual like in-game store assets one could dig up. So if you look very carefully at like these potato bags, these potato chips and whatnot, you can find these assets in the Epic Games Store. So literally right next to each other, dude. You can see this bag of bacon potato chips. Right on here. And of course, if you look at grocery props right now, this is by Prop House, and you can purchase this license all the way from $17 to like $34. Again, there's no issue with things like, asset flipping, but when it comes to, again, the myriad of red flags, it really feels like they just put this game together really quickly to give it the impression of a high quality game. They didn't even put any effort into like the whole parody structure that they kind of like basically are aping from Rockstar Games right here. So realistically, when you start to look at all these, and this is just like a quick view of the assets. This took me literally like, I want to say a minute, 2 minutes to find on the actual like Epic Games like Fab store, the asset store. So if it's already this weird here, let's go further and see their gameplay where you actually deal with AI NPCs. Listen to this shit.
Welcome to Parmart.
Bro, they really gave the white old store owner the Indian voice because he's in the fucking 7-Eleven, dude. I love that. I also like how long it takes for the AI to respond, because that's what I love in my video games, that like awkward 4-second pause in between every dialogue prompt. But honestly, the one thing that I wanted to show you was this clip right here, okay? So this is obviously your main character talking to some random guy at a gas station. I don't know what this person is doing at a gas station. They don't have a fucking car. They're not filling up any gas, but listen to this.
Oh, I need a gun.
Hey, yo, you tripping, man. This ain't the place to be talking about no guns. You better chill with that.
Whoa! I swear I've heard that on TikTok somewhere. So I decided to do the other thing and go on to the actual like 11 Labs website. And it's AI that generates voices for you. And one voice known as Adam, okay, which if you decide to actually type in the exact prompt that Adam like spoke in this, hey yo, you tripping, man. This ain't the place to be talking about no guns. You better chill with that. Let's listen to what Adam sounds like in this AI.
Ayo, you tripping, man. This ain't the place to be talking about no guns. You better chill with that. Hey, yo, you tripping, man. This ain't the place to be talking about no guns. You better chill with that.
Whoa, that sounds suspiciously similar to my friend in Paradise. You know, the other day I saw Elon Musk say too many game studios are owned by massive corporations. We want to start an AI game studios to make games great again. Yeah, nothing says a small corporation, but being owned by XAI, a whole litany of other large corporations and the richest guy in the world, right? Really fighting that establishment, aren't we? This is the future. This is what AI games look like, okay? When people talk about the dead internet theory and like tons of bot traffic on the internet, this game literally is the definition of AI game studio producing mediocre slop that literally is trying to emulate anything from Grand Theft Auto Online. Now, here's the thing, okay? Look, if you look at any of these kind of games and you look at what they're comparing it to, which is obviously GTA Online, you can load up GTA for like 5 minutes, play it, and realize that a PlayStation 3 online game at its core is still far more impressive than these games that utilize all these unnecessary technologies like AI voice generation, AI stories, AI quests. It really is like an inferior version of a handcrafted game that Rockstar has produced. They want to make billions off of a game that literally will just produce and regurgitate itself, which isn't really feasible when you actually see how these things play out, even in these curated videos that are produced.
Who else would I be? Hun.
So, I don't know. Show me your boobs.
Excuse you? That's like totally out of line.
Dude, why do they even have to leave the horny shit in the game? I just wanted to leave that in because they actually thought that was worth showing for their promotional material. Anyways, though, that's really all the stuff you can get out of Paradise. Now, again, ladies and gentlemen, asset flipping is not really the biggest sin in the world, but when you've got blatant copyright infringement, that's something to really think about, right? And it's one of the red flags that caused me to really look deeper into Paradise, right? So anyways, you go to their site and they've got like an actual Steam page, right? Like it looks to be like pretty legit. And the company here, Ultra Games, Ultra Technologies, Ultra Games HK, bunch of Ultra Games right there. Ultra Games I remember from back in the days of old fucking NES. But yeah, you look into it and they basically said it's coming soon to early access. So developers of this game intend to release as a work in progress, developing with the feedback of players, okay? So yeah, they plan to release this at some point in 2025, but what they do kind of talk about are things like Paradise Tap. And I want you to remember Paradise Tap because it's pretty important in a bit. So to go back to the actual website over here, the more and more you look into it, like they've got AI NPCs, voice communications, every day is unique, which we've seen like, implementations of it, and it is in fact complete dog shit. The further you go down into it, they show you what you can buy in the game. So you're earning like these tokens, which you can use to purchase the Razor Vortex. You know, this is clearly a Corvette. The Stallion Sprinter is clearly a Ford Mustang GT. And the Zenthar Predator is clearly a Lamborghini. Okay, so obviously, you could say that, oh, doesn't GTA do the same too? First off, I don't believe that every single car in GTA is an exact one-to-one copy of an exact car in reality. That would be a complete use of copyright infringement. Usually cars in GTA are like an amalgamation or a interpretation or a parody of real-life cars, and they're usually attributed to real-life car brands that are also parodied, right? Like, I believe every Tesla in the universe for GTA is related to a military arms corporation known as Coil, that does a whole lot of other things. I believe every Ford is like related to the Vapid franchise. I mean, there are seriously like implementations. Look at these weapons, dude. You want a Glock? You want a gold Apex? A desert camo? They got little prices like 10 grand and shit. Clothes, accessories, businesses. You want the IT company building? Of course I do, Dinesh. Why not? Estate? Real estate apartment? Dog, we can't, that's not an apartment. We can't even get basic designations right, dude. What the fuck? Now, what's funny about this website is the more and more people started to really look into this, the more and more they said the website is under development. And this is where things get even wilder. So obviously, thanks to the Wayback Machine, you too can dig up an older version of the website from September 2024 and realize they really removed a whole bunch of extra content. So let's go down and see just what they've removed. For instance, they actually have partnerships with Kohl's, okay? So AI copies of influencers with more than 6 million total followers. So now it makes more sense. Now it doesn't appear so much the fact that they actually have influencers on board. We might be dealing with complete copies. And so here's the funny copies right here, dude, okay? So first off, you've got two actual, like, I assume these are Hong Kong-based Asian influencers, but then you've got Ninja. Unreal Engine AI Ninja is a goddamn fucking what is this, dude? Then you got like Justin Minks. So you've got like actual influencers that have been copied in to absolutely no degree of quality whatsoever. And of course, I wish I could view all, but because this is a Wayback Machine, these sites tend to actually crash up. But then again, what's more interesting about this too is they start talking about this application called Paradise Tap. So Paradise Tap is kind of this application that is currently only available on like Telegram as like their Telegram built-in applications. And you're supposed to earn like Paradise coins through that. And of course, the more and more you look into their actual website, the more and more it appears that this is used as a way for them to actually run their own crypto market. So you can use these tokens to purchase in-game assets, but you can also, I guess, trade them around as if they were real, proper, like monetized currency. So when you talk about like where the money is supposed to be made for these kind of like things, it's usually supposed to be platforms like this. They want to pump this entire coin, from my understanding, through this game. And of course, from what I understand, gain the actual processing fees off of the transactions that are done using Paradise Tap. Now, unfortunately, a lot of the website is gone, so I wanted to look up the team members for this, and even the team members are all, like, generated by AI, dude. The only one that's available is, like, this Robert Lee, who is apparently this individual right here, who also might have been sending, like, a bunch of influencers, like, emails to, like, get on and talk about this project, right? The worst thing you can do is run a game like this and ask influencers to look in, because if it's even, like, a hint of shady, people are going to jump in and like tear it apart. So then you go down and you see what the dude, the regional team is just ninja, dude. Chief Technology Officer Tiao Yilong. Dude, they just cloned Ninja 10 times, and he's just working for the company, bro. It's crazy shit. So, to look closer into this entire situation, ladies and gentlemen, one thing even wilder is like looking up the company behind it, right? You would think with the game that they showcase, maybe the company has some tier of legitimacy behind it. So obviously, Ultra Games, right? Who is Ultra Games, for crying out loud? So one search for Ultra Games leads you to Ultra Software Corporation. This is what I was talking about, like 1988, like a shell company of Konami making like absolute dog tier games on the NES. If you look up Ultra Games right now, you go to one website by onebusinessworld.com. Oh, interesting. The global business ecosystem. Boost your business, successfully present yourself. Oh man, this whole website feels like it's fucking AI generated. Jesus Christ. All right, so to go back to Ultra Games Limited right over here, they're an Ultra Games Limited brand. They're a leading gaming company headquartered in Hong Kong, with offices worldwide holding a prominent position in the Asian markets. Okay, maybe that's why you probably haven't heard of them. Ultra Games Limited, renowned for its strategic alliances with major Asian corps, such as Sony Interactive Entertainment, Tencent, iFlyTech, Game Science, MiHoYo, and Baidu, maintains a dynamic presence in the global digital entertainment sector. Although its recognition is more concentrated in Asia than in European and American markets, this focused regional strength underpins its unique positioning. Okay, so blah, 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 blah. Let's see what they've actually done, okay? So you go down over here and they say they played a significant role in developing iconic projects like Honor of Kings, The King of Fighters World, Justice Online, and yeah, that's their contribution, right? They also partner with Epic Games to enhance the Unreal Engine. So I don't know if they're like necessarily even like an assist developer on it, like they're actually writing the fucking code for it and like directly assisting. But I decided to look up like one of the games here, and one of them is like Honor of Kings. Like all these games are relatively big, but Honor of Kings, for anybody that has no idea, is one of the top grossing MOBA games on a cell phone, right? So if you have no idea about this game, I believe it actually crossed, like if you look up the revenue for it, they actually made around $4.5 billion since they launched. It's actually one of the most popular things from Tencent. So obviously, if your brand is attached to it, that's really huge, right? Like obviously that's a pretty big point of contention, and maybe I might just believe what Ultra Games is about. So even inside like their legal notices and end user license agreements, I wanted to end up finding like Ultra Games anywhere, and I couldn't find them in the open source notification, nor could I find them anywhere in the actual like use for the end user license agreement. So it makes me wonder like where the crediting is actually happening. Anytime you look up Ultra Games Limited and Honor of Kings, you literally just figure out how to run the game on Ultra graphics. That's pretty much about it. Even on their actual like site, you can't find anything about it. So maybe unless it was something super internal, it's wild because you kind of have to sit down and like think, man, either you contributed significantly or you did almost nothing at all, to the point that there's like no crediting for you. So I guess it's time to end this off with like what their community Q&A says, right? So how can you guarantee fulfilling your commitments to players regarding the game's release? So basically, we like to remind you that our game is available in a free-to-play format. You'll have full access completely free of charge. The game cannot be considered fake or non-existent, as it follows a free-to-play model and is offered to users free of charge. We do not require any upfront payments from fees or players, which eliminates the possibility of deception or dishonest practices. Unlike other games that offer paid access to an unfinished product, our project has been designed from the start to be entirely free of use. So yeah, that's all nice and everything, but when you have things like that Paradise Tap, that obviously people have to like question, because when you have a cryptocurrency attached, one of the reasons why I think they've kind of knocked back at least some of the actual advertising for that as much as they can is because obviously if you look up Steam's like mention of any of this kind of technology, they're pretty much against the idea of cryptocurrencies in video games. And the way that you confirm this, if you go to like Steam's onboarding, you can actually scroll down to the rules and guidelines and say what you shouldn't publish on Steam. The last thing they have is applications built on blockchain technology that issue or allow exchange of cryptocurrencies or NFTs. So one of their principal rules, one of their principal technologies is actually against Steam, where they're trying to get brought into. So they also, like, the thing about this is, like, when you want to talk about things like a scam, for instance, right? I think it's fraudulent when you introduce, like, influencers who haven't been notified of their, appearance in a video game, okay? And they actually kind of address that over here. Will there be partnership agreements with well-known influencers like Ninja, Pokimane, and others? I mean, you clearly use their faces in your promotional material, right? At present, we have signed several contracts with influencers, primarily from Asian countries, and we continue to negotiate with major international partners. When information about our collaborations first appeared on the website, it was marked as soon. So yes, on their website, they pretty much did say they marked these these things as soon. But I would say that if you're actually in the process of discussing, before you do any form of cross-branding, because this is actual cross-branding, right? Like, if you put Ninja's face up here, it makes people, like, generally under the assumption that the talks are pretty much done. The talks are effectively just finalized. It wasn't, so they had to actually remove this guy from the actual marketing material. But it makes me wonder, like, is Pokimane on board? Is Ali on board? Like, they haven't mentioned this project in any capacity. So, as we already had preliminary agreements and contract terms were under discussion, however, since not all contracts were finalized, we decided to temporarily remove this information. I think this translates to they actually looked at this project for more than 5 seconds, if they even gave you a contact back, and realized this was fucking shady to begin with. This was the initial version of our Paradise project, designed as an early announcement of our partnerships. As we now developed a more comprehensive version aimed at a broader audience and allowed both established and emerging bloggers to apply, given the significant interest in the project and the large number of responses, we see the importance of creating a new, flexible, and efficient system for interacting with bloggers and streamers. Basically, don't bite off more than you can chew and don't blow your fucking load off like crazy. So when they talk about the Paradise app, right? PAR is an in-game currency. Initially, users will be able to purchase items with PAR currency, opening the opportunity to acquire unique items directly through the app. We also add daily tasks and small jobs that can be completed to earn in-game currency. And it sounds incredibly similar to another online game. I think it's, forgot what it is. I think it's like Grand something? Yeah, it's weird. The Paradise app was launched in closed beta testing to evaluate key features. The beta testing allowed us to access the app's performance. So I don't believe that they're... Now, I want to also bring up the attention of this YouTuber known as Jetro, who also looked into this story as well, and his team came across some rather interesting links. So, for instance, if you go to this, like, Wayback Machine post, now, if you go to Paradise XRP, inside the actual, if you just go to this page, you'll find that it's a forbidden access. But thankfully, due to the Wayback Machine, you too can see that this is actually a former webpage, this is all the way back from August 11th, where they actually talk about this exact game. So the screenshots are effectively all the same if you can look closely. You've got Ultra Games Limited all the way down over here. And more importantly, as you go up over here, you can see like aspects of all these other influencers they work with, like Ninja, Chica, Akanoiko. And then, of course, to go up here, you can see more importantly is the buy PAR token. So when we talked about like how this could possibly be any form of scam? Well, if you look carefully in their website, the way that you purchase that token is you buy an actual currency known as XRP, all right? You download something known as Zamam, all right? You add a trust line, and then you purchase Paradise, right? So you create a wallet, send 10 XRP, and add Paradise trust line, and then accept a transaction. And the thing is, there are like actual like videos of people who are engaging with this. So if you look carefully into this, you can see that people have posted Telegram updates. There's entire like, there's these like Russian like farming videos of like this specific token. So it was a token that was exchanged. Now, according to Jetro and their team, when they looked into it, they also found that while you could put money in, you couldn't withdraw it out. So effectively making this a fucking, like, actual scam. The coins didn't do anything. You put money in, you're not getting them out, okay? And then the other big kick in the dick is somehow down the road they want to bring this again once the heat dies down and they get certified by Steam and then Epic as well. So then they start to ask them, it's like, wait a minute, why do you use assets similar to those found in other games like GTA? We acknowledge that games is a significant source of inspiration for our projects, and we do not exclude the use of reference to various games and films. I love how blatant copyright theft is just fucking inspiration. We include certain references, items, and names as part of our legal and creative use. I think legal can be debatable, okay? I think actually, is taking Rockstar's mini-map some fucking creative use? Is there a legal case for it? Just taking the mini-map like no tomorrow? Let me just ask you very carefully, is taking a parasol sign with actually no real fundamental change in like design somewhat transformative? Is it legal? Is it creative? I don't think so. Now look, the closer you look into a game like the closer you look at a company like Ultra Games Limited with this massive like repertoire behind them, you'll notice that the website basically leads to actually blank nothing. And of course, the actual address over here, which again they provide, and it's crashing the actual site. Let's just copy this. It leads to, from what I've seen, just a skyscraper in the middle of nowhere, which could just be an incorporation address. Like, let's just drop our pal right there. Oh, this is where Ultra Games is supposed to be. So one user from Jetro's community actually decided to go into the real world and go to this actual address for Ultra Games. And it turned out that their legal address may not have actually been, really anything. Nobody might have been there. So here's a translation when they're asking of it. Like, even the person is like, I've never heard of it. Which floor? They just have the address, 64 Connaught Road. And even the receptionist is like, I don't have any clue about it, right? Which again, if you have a legal address, which by the way, should be there for correspondence, why is it that when people actually go to the address, it turns out that they're not actually at said address? Now again, this is Arico posting this. I haven't went down there myself. So I can confirm it with my own eyes. But this is not a good sign for any company, right? Especially one that has such a goddamn pedigree behind them, allegedly. Now, this could be one of those games where I get absolutely blown away, and it's one of those like titles where like they actually create something really awesome. But I'm going to wager, after all the red flags that I've seen, this is a project that you as a gamer should stay far away from. And especially if you think of dabbling into the PAR currency whenever it becomes available, or if you get access to it, I would also stay far, far away from. Because, ladies and gentlemen, projects like this, and when you look at them like this, they're never actually really tangible looking. It feels like a lot of individuals who have come together to basically grift off of Grand Theft Auto 6's like announcement, and have come to grift off of the fact that it's going to be one of the most hyped game releases of next year. So if they can just take even like a percent of the grift out of it, that might be, tangible for them. But I think for a company that has literally been caught straight up, shot for shot, copying assets and effectively turning the dead internet theory into more of a reality, this is something you should stay away from, okay? 1000% in my opinion. But ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Mutahar, and if you like what you saw, I think the fact that showcasing influencers that you haven't really nailed down, using their likeness as a way to legitimize your game, is completely fucking disgusting in every capacity. And I honestly think if any influencer is actually involved in this project, or at least like involved in the sense that they used your likeness without you really knowing, you might have to consider some you might have to actually tell these people to take your shit down. Because realistically, if you're like a Pokimane, or you're like an Allie, or even if you're like a ninja attached to this project at all, that is your name being used to legitimize a project that most likely doesn't seem to be tangible in any capacity. But, ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Mutahar, and honestly, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Just like it if you dislike it. I am out.